Good evening. Welcome. Oh, sorry, I was kind of looking. I put a camera here because today I want to share the process of scanning the muller, at least from the things that I've seen, how I can scan it best and how it works best. But it's a bit difficult. I actually wanted to stream a little bit earlier today, this morning actually. But I had some issues with getting my scanner, which needs quite a lot of bandwidth USB wise, and my cameras and microphones, which hopefully work, by the way. Get them to work, show my screen share with you so you can see the software running, and show the scanner running as well while it's running without any lagging on the scanner part. So it was a little bit, two things I normally wouldn't do at once. A CPU for my computer is running a little bit higher as usual as well. So yeah, there's that. I'm going to, let's have a look if I can share. That is good to hear. My Mac, there you go. So my Mac and this is working as well. The scanner, it works with blue lasers. So this here isn't going to be the best picture. I can just share that already. That's not going to be the best picture for you. So we'll probably have a look here what it does a little bit better. Here you can still see it moving. So the scanner that I bought was the RevoPoint Metro X. It was a Kickstarter project, so I could buy it for way cheaper than it is now, currently doing now. And basically what it can do, it is a laser scanner. If you know anything about scanners or 3D printing, but scanners mostly. Let's have a look if I can share a little bit of this. Yeah, so if you know anything about 3D scanning, it needs those little dots, the markers. Those are the little reflective white dots that you see over here. You need to map those. So I can actually let me just quickly do something here. One moment, please. Let's have a look. I need to. Okay. You need to map those markers so it recognizes which objects to scan. So that's a regular laser marker scanner. Regular, that's a laser scanner. And what that looks like is this. I'm going to share this screen with you. It's loading the other kind of look. It looks like this. So it has like a cross section of lasers. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, a little bit. And it sees the markers. So it recognizes the markers over here. If you want to scan larger objects, for instance a car, you need to put markers on the car so you can scan it. You also have like light scanners. You have infrared laser with a depth lens, but also blue light. This has a crazy amount of lasers in it, so you can actually, let me put the other kind of, you know, the sort of scanner function. You have marker scan, so you're scanning with markers, and feature scan, so it's actually looking for features on your object. You don't need the markers. Not going to take them away either. And what it does, it beams all the lasers out, so it actually creates a blue light array. And on the screen here, I know it says underexposed, but you can actually see the depth quite clearly here. So what this does is basically it looks at your object and stitches everything together that it sees. Right, so this is the most accurate version when it's on a tripod and also when it's on the turntable. So there's a Bluetooth turntable with this. This is very not pigment stuff. The only paint related thing here is actually the 600-year-old Muller that is over there. The thing that this does right now, I can show it to you here. I'm just going to share the screen. The turntable is going to, well, it's turning, you can see it here. Picture sideways. I don't know why that is, but it is sideways. You can see it here. And here you see it is slowly making a dot cloud. And dots here are later going to be connected to your 3D as your 3D model. So I've put it on extra slow, so it gets all the details. The red over here those are highlights which don't have a lot of details. But because this is turning, the details will eventually be caught up here at the other sides. So I'm just going to let this spin around. I've put it in an angle that it catches the top as well as the bottom here. So you can see here when it's green, it has a lot of info, enough info to form a model with, and you can see some gaps over here. So right now I can let this spin for ages. I don't want to. I can pause it. I can change the angle as well. So you are jealous, Ian. Yeah, I had a clumsy, very amateuristic kind of scanner before. So I can put this in a little bit in a different angle, the turntable, and I can actually continue the scan. It should catch up with the rest of this. So it should align everything automatically. You can see where there are holes over here. It's now actually filling those holes. See this as well. It's an empty part. Because it's a little bit in an angle, the light reaches from a different angle and slowly going to fill these holes here. Maybe still a little bit, maybe still a little bit here. No, yes, there's still a little tiny gap over there, but way better than it was. Also here as an example, all these holes are now being filled with information to make a 3D model out of it. So I can just say complete right now. And what I'm left with here is a dot cloud. Let's have a look. I can go as low as 0.05 millimeters, but I'm using it a little bit bigger, a tenth of a millimeter, to create a little less noise, because the slower you get, the more noise you get in your model. I'm going to hit apply. I do have to say, with this, I have quite a new MacBook. It's about a year old, a MacBook Pro, a little bit upgraded as well. So it's quite a hefty laptop from the inside. And as you can see here, the processing, it needs it. So it's quite a demanding scanner, to say the least. And I'm just going to show you this process, just quickly, what you can do, how you can clean it up, and what you'll end up with. I also want to share what it looks like when you're scanning in color, full color 3D scan. This is I think the most niche thing I've ever done. Scanning something that has to do with pigments, which is a fully niche thing, but also, you know, talking about 3D scanning, which is not even within the realm of 3D printing niche. It's its own niche, and I think way smaller than 3D printing. So I'm happy that at least, you know, someone likes it. The photogrammetry way of making 3D scans is, yeah, that takes a long time. This, I've put it on extra slow, so it can be a little bit faster. The amount of frames right now, I think it was like over 1,000 frames, if I was right. The amount of frames right now is crazy. You don't need that many to get a really, really good 3D scan. And basically, what you're doing with Fusion is what it's doing now. I can actually work with these points, with these dots, So I can erase them. I can modify them a bit. I can make it a little bit less, so less memory as well. And with this, it takes a long time, but it's definitely worth it. Yeah, absolutely, Ian. This wasn't free, but you know the amount of details that this can see at least. I think you can get as fine as a hair or even finer with what it sees. And then obviously there's limitations on the size of the object in combination with those details. If you do want to do it that fine, you don't want to make a 3D scan of a car with this and then use a detail that's fine. So when it comes to mechanical accuracy, you don't need that. So for the 3-roll mill, I said 2 days ago, I want to say yesterday, but 2 days ago, the sides of that plastic sides, plastic covers, I won't put it that fine. You know, you need the screw holes and all those things. You need that on the right spot and the right size, but that doesn't come down to 1/10 of a millimeter. So yeah, it's way quicker that way as well than it is now. I've had some issues with this. I didn't really know how to proceed with combining scans. So right now, obviously, what I'm doing right now, I have like the full side, and it even took the top of the muller. I don't have the bottom of it, so I need to make a separate scan of the bottom, as well as some sides of it, for it to recognize the features, so it can align automatically. When I first used it, I rendered everything into a mesh, a 3D model, before I combined everything, and that took so long. Before, like this takes long, but that it took so long for it to finally be ready, and I needed to make 3 scans. The first time I used it, I put it too close. I made 3 scans, and the software just, you know, it crashed. It closed down automatically. My laptop didn't have enough thinking, like, spare memory. It wasn't even the RAM which was full. It was just the thinking part of my hard drive, what it uses for, you know, these tasks. It was full as well, and I ended up with, I don't know, it was 20 gigs. Yeah, that file was 20 gigs before it crashed, for just one 3D model, which was crazy. The LiDAR scanners are very impressive as well. It's kind of the same principle. I know the laser and LiDAR are 2 completely different things. But when it comes to the depth sensitivity of this and the accuracy, I'm not quite sure what would be better. Maybe LiDAR is a little bit faster. Not quite sure. Rendering this, I mean, the scanner isn't doing anything right now. It's my laptop. As one of the few times my laptop actually uses its fan as well. So that's right now. I can't complain about this. I mean, I have basically 95% of the model. which is now just, you know, doing its thing. And this is just basic, you know, basically a colorless model, which I don't want for online viewing. So when I'm going to share my online model of this, I will share a full colored version of this in the highest detail possible, without having to pay for a subscription to upload files. So I think I'm limited to 100 MBs. So I really need to check how I'm going to do that with a colored 3D model with high details, to make it still very detailed, but also not too big to have to pay for it. So there's always things you need to think about when you're working with these. The power of the laptop, I did underestimate that, but apparently more people did. So this is complete. It already cleaned a little bit, so let me just clean up a little bit more. We can erase that. We can erase a little bit more. Come on. There we go. We can erase that, and we can erase this as well. Let's have a look. These are all holes, so these are not. This wasn't information, or this wasn't the right information. It looks a little bit weird. This looks a little bit off to me. So, to be honest, I wouldn't use this. I would scan it again. To be honest, I would definitely not use this. So I'm just going to delete this. We're feature scanning here, and instead of full field, we're going auto turntable. And there's something very interesting we can do here, which I've already told you about. Right now the camera is the right way up. I don't know why that is. We can put the exposure a little bit higher. And we can turn on color scanning. You can even adjust the white balance of this. So that's very nice. As you can see, frames per second is very low. Before it was 14. It can go as high, you know, with marker scans, I think 30 to 60 frames per second. But right now this is very low. And let me quickly check if I can. Yeah, okay. But that's okay. For the thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to share a different view for that. So here, so what it does, if I turn this on, it actually scans it, turns it around, so it flashes with the light to take the 3D information. It takes a picture to map that on the 3D model with the right colors, and the green here is that, you know, the information that it takes, and then it leaves you already here. Let me put this a little bit bigger. It leaves you with a colored version of a dot cloud. So this is very interesting. It takes baby steps, takes a picture, takes the depth, baby steps again. I think I'm going to cancel it. I think it's a little bit too light. So we can change that as well. Going to wait for it. Need to toggle on the color one. We're going to not let this do auto exposure. Also, we're not going to let this do the auto white balance. Oh, that's the right one. So it can be exposed a little bit more. White balance not too cool, not too warm as well. When it turns blue, it's just actually just, you know, seeing the 3D lights, the laser lights, and we're going to turn it on again. So I'm just going to let it do its thing right now. We can even put this on that the outer turntable makes a 10-degree turn up and 10-degree turn down the other way, and then goes another full circle for it to go to do its thing, to get all the information. Here you can see this is way better. Still a dot cloud, as you can see. But beneath this green information of depth, there is a colored muller. So this is basically how I'm going to share this 600-year-old muller with everyone who's interested. The great thing about this, this entire process just goes automatically. It takes about 70 pictures, or the rendering frames, as you can see in the bottom over there. It takes about 70 images, frames per turn. So it turns, right now it turns just horizontally, then it tilts 10 degrees, then minus 10 degrees, and all kind of 70 frames per rotation. And then you should have the information you need. So if there's any questions about this, please ask away. To be honest, I'm still learning this as well. I used to have a very kind of a very small, clumsy, yet still quite expensive, especially for the time it came from. I think it was 2006, no, 14, 15, that I bought my first 3D scanner for little sculptures that I made. And I think maybe sooner actually. That was quite fun, but that was just, you know, a tabletop turntable with the camera and the lasers connected to it. Just that just slide it up and down, and that turntable just spun around. It took quite a while. It was very sensitive to anything in the back that was moving, that it would kind of catch with that. Cleaning up was a little bit easier. I think cleaning up when it comes to the bottom or the top was a little bit easier than here. But this is way more advanced. When this is a model, you can even smooth out the model afterwards within this software. So you don't need extra 3D software for that, which is quite nice. With this mode, though, you do see that it misses a lot of information at the bottom. So you really need that turntable to move at least 10 degrees both ways to get a little bit more information. You could combine the 3D information of all kind of all different scans, but for this I need the color information as well. So I'm using this method in multiple ways for the bottom and for the top later on as well, to get the most accurate and accurate scan when it comes to details, but also color wise. There you saw the turntable moving. So it gets a little bit more information from the top, as you can see from the green information on the screen. It makes some noise as well, I see here. What is that noise? Something in the back it sees. which doesn't belong there, but it's easy to clean up. I think that's my little marble slab in the back that it actually sees as well, this part over here, or something here. I'm not quite sure what it is. Yeah, I can definitely put it in a maker world. I think, at least. I don't know if there's a limitation when it comes to sizes. That's the only down part of this. For something you know, like a Bambu Lab printer, you don't need a full color model for it. It also needs to support the format that it comes as a model. I know it supports OBJ, which does also support the color information. But I'm not quite sure if there's any limitations to that size-wise to that website. So as you can see here right now, it doesn't see anything from the bottom because it's tilted towards the scanner. So it mostly sees information from the top and from this part here, the part over there. And let me just get back to this. So you can see it tilting back the other way around. Let me just put myself up here. You know, I have a lid and there's all those extra things laying underneath there. The lid is to actually put something on and to make something a little bit higher so you don't have the platform in your scan. So yeah, there's all kinds of ways to make it work for you. The lights next to the scanner, I added those myself to get a uniform lighting when it comes to capturing the colors. I do get a little bit anxious when this thing is tilting back, and it should be tilting back in a few turns, because that's a very precious muller on there. That makes me a little bit anxious. So on the screen, let me share that again. You can see now it's actually seeing this part, this lower part here. So now it's capturing the information and the colors for this lower part. It still is missing some information, I think. Here you can actually see where it took the pictures. So it's quite a lot of pictures. Eventually we'll end up with around 120, 130 pictures. Sorry, 220, 230 pictures for this for this this model like this only, so this scan only. You can already see the little cracks in the information it sees right now in the depth camera. The layer of dried up paint on the muller, chiseled away stone here, and this is only a dot cloud still, as you can see. So this is not a 3D model yet. These are just flying dots of captured depth. And what it does after this, when I cleaned everything up, it connects those dots with triangles. And from those triangles, a 3D model is built up. So those are called polygons, for those of you who don't know 3D modeling or 3D scanning. So these are dots which are measured, you know, by the depth camera, and those dots are connected with triangles, forming a 3D model. So hence the surrounding images here. This can be considered polygons, for instance. All the separate surfaces of everything, you know, not only the white lines, but all those little triangles with shadow in these colors could be considered polygons. It is right, yeah. Thought it was. But that's quite easy to clean up for this. Not quite sure we are there yet, actually. When this is finished, I think I need to move the camera and make another a turn around at this. Paolo, welcome. A fully, completely different stream. It's still me, but scanning this very old muller. Which is finished right now. So it's, right now it's just actually waiting until I move it, until I make a new scan. So for this, I'm just going to press complete. And this is what I'm left with. So a pretty good base. There's still some holes here, so there's definitely needs another scan. Definitely needs another go. Top is pretty good. Could be a little bit more solid. Color-wise also could be a little bit more gray. So that could be exposed to the light I'm using now a little bit more. The noise, we can put that away. Just turn on Fusion again. I'm going to let this think for a while. This should go a little bit quicker than I previously did, because these are, I think these were 220, 230 frames. The previous one was 1500, I think. So as you can see, it's way faster already. When I've fused everything I just did, so the different scans, I then can delete everything that doesn't belong there. It takes a little bit more time with this, because it actually, and this is something I'm thinking about, trying to get rid of. I just think just cutting a black piece of paper, it also catches the marker dots and translate that into the 3D model, which is annoying because these are directly underneath and against the model, so it's making it part of the model, which is very annoying to get rid of without making any holes in your model. But you know, I thought I just want to share what I'm doing with this and what it can do. This is not the only thing I'm doing when I'm using the 3D scanner, because of this waiting time. Usually I'm either making a batch of paint, you know, by hand, or doing some research online. Gulchen, welcome. That's weird. That's very weird. I planned it and I did the countdown thing, so usually that would do the trick. But only if you're interested in this. This, you know, I'm talking, and we can talk about everything, basically. But what I'm showing in the meantime is 3D scanning the 600-year-old muller, and you know, showing the process of that. So it has a lot of noise at the moment. But we can get rid of most of it quite easily by just... I don't want to hit the muller itself, so I need to be careful with these parts. I can do this a little bit later on, and just going around it to make all these things disappear. For these things, and these are the markers I was talking about. Things at the top here. So this isn't too difficult, and it's quite fast as well when you want to delete that. So I'm not going to do the markers right now. It just, you know, we need to zoom in way more for that. So just leave this hanging for a while. You still see that there's holes in the bottom over there. I can get rid of the markers. Yeah, I can probably get rid of them. I'm not going to do it very precise. This is just sharing with you what I'm planning with this. We need to add that as well. That is a mess. That was an absolute mess. Yeah, that's what I said. That was a mess. Well, there we go. Mess fixed over there. And there was one more over there. And there was another one. So now those are deleted. I have a little bit, I can delete that as well. Sorry about this. So now you can appreciate it a little bit better for, you know, what it can be. We can simplify it a little bit. Geometric, it goes with the detail. Before we are making a 3D model out of it. And actually, I just want to show you that what it looks like when it's a 3D model with a texture on it. And that's actually the only thing I want to show you today with this. Oh, there you go. It's already finished. So obviously it needs a bottom still. It's oh, there's still a little bit of something left that shouldn't be there. I think this is good enough for now. Let's mesh this. The quality, we wanted to match that hole filling. Why not fill the small holes, and let's see what it does with the bottom. About 4 minutes. So I just want to show you, you know, what it looks like, or what you can expect when I put it online. It would have a bottom there, but yeah, I think I do have a finished version. Let me just quickly look at this. Online 3D viewer. Drop it here. Yeah, I want to drop it there, but I think you're going to say it's too big. It doesn't say it's too big. Oh, that's good. Okay, so in the meantime, I can just show you this. This is a, I don't want to accept the cookies. Can we make a, just make it a little bit more of contrast. Meshes, I do want to, this isn't not a detailed version, this is a colored version though. And it's one with the bottom as well. So you can actually just appreciate what this looks like, apart from the fact that this isn't very detailed. And it uploaded in no time, so I don't know exactly how this website works. I am interested in, if I measure it from this point to this point. This millimeters, is this like 11 centimeters? Should be a little bit bigger, I think. Anyway, this is what it looks like when it comes out in color, but not in detail. I will show you in a minute, or in a few minutes actually. It's weird. I don't know what's wrong with the streams when it comes to notifications and things like that. I just don't. It's on my side. I've turned on everything correctly. I know, at least from some of you, I know you have, and still now and then it just doesn't say anything about going online. For me, same for me. I get an email when I go online myself. A notification. I don't know why, by the way. On the email address I'm using here. And I didn't get one with the countdown. I did get one this morning. And this morning I tried a little bit of stream, but then this software, or at least the scanner, wouldn't start. Wouldn't be recognized as a separate USB device when I was connected to OBS already. So I just quit that live stream. But I did get a notification. Today I've been, in the meantime, while I was thinking, let's just share my work day. Sorting some things out, preparing some things to be sent that are either way overdue. And these are all things I'm sending like away for free-ish. One of them being Tamas from artistpigments.org. I haven't sent it away yet, but I've been collecting all the paints that I make or want to make, or not too much I want to make. By the way, I don't want to put out too much out there. Put too much out there. Wow, that I won't make later on. But I did make a sort of a dot card. It's I don't know if I should share it here. Oh, I'm already sharing it. So I'm not going to sell this. I'm not planning on selling these, but these are basically all the colors, the single pigments that I, apart from my dirty blue signatures here. These are all the single pigments that I sell, and this is just how far I got with this before I went to dinner. And after dinner, I was actually, looking into a little bit more into this. This is basically a very big dot card with all the single pigments that I offer, or will offer, or will try to offer in the future, near future. So sending this to Tomas to get spectral readings and viewable swatches, watchable swatches, online swatches of my paints on the website. So I've been in contact with him about this, and he was happy to do it for me to make the spectral curves of all my to put the spectral curves of all my pigments out there as well. What I can do is I can basically do the same. We have the same spectrometer. The thing is, I can't put the spectral data on his website. I can only put it in the hue circle, which I showed you a while back. And this shows how professional he is with this project. He only wants to do the spectral readings himself, because he swatches all the spectral readings, and all the swatches that are on the website are from his hand. So it's all done in the same way. So there's a high level of consistency throughout the entire website of all the information that's on there, the spectral readings and the swatches. Those are all done by him in the same way, same method, same paint consistency. It's not like one has been swatched and the data has been read for a spectral curve in a wash, and the other one was a mask tone. Now, everything is very consistent, so he wants to do it himself. I have a high level of respect for that, because that's just attention to detail in the best way possible, especially when it comes to pigments and those information. Really hard not seeing things yourself and needing to go by information like that on a website needs that consistency. So because of that, that's why I'm sending basically sending him this for free. But on the other hand, he did send me these pigments from Kusakabe, from Pigment Tokyo, a while back. He also sent me those. So that's the least thing I can do is send them back. A few, say a page full of dots of my paint. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, as well as some other logistical things. But while I've been talking, this has been finished for a while already. It's actually quite a large, and you notice that I'm not very fluently scrolling through it. It's almost 10 million polygons, 10 million of these triangles. So we're going to simplify it. First, now let's just start with the basic 40%. As recalculating everything, parts with less detail get higher. You can see it in the example here down below. Gets larger triangles, while very detailed areas remain a little bit more detailed. I am afraid this is going to take a while though. So I'm just going to go back to this. So yeah, there's that. Other things I've been looking into. Haven't touched a 3-roll mill today. Oh, the mesh is... Oh, it's already done. That was quicker than I thought it would be. And it's already way faster to move this. Let's fill holes. We are going to do it like this. This is very brutal what I'm doing right now. Just selecting all the holes, and I'm just saying it can fill all the holes with information. So we have a solid 3D model. It's probably going to look rubbish underneath here. Yeah, Paolo, yes, that's true, but it's not only deleting points. It is going in a way that it kind of looks at the more detailed parts have more polygons and the less detailed parts have less. But you know, for us that would be difficult. For a computer, obviously not so much. This wouldn't be difficult as well, but it's not going to be pretty. It's probably not going to be pretty. So we filled it up with a big black mesh over there. That's fine for me. This is fully fine. We're going to color image. Yeah, we're going to put the texture on it. So right now what we're looking at is just pictures pasted on a 3D model, and it looks very flat and lifeless. What I basically did on the over here, I really don't know why this isn't more detailed. I mean, I'm literally looking at pixels, and I don't see anything when it comes to the depth of it. Just a little bit here, maybe. Not even sure if I do. Let me quickly have a look if I can drop another model on there, because I had a different one, I think. Did I? STL, 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 OBJ, OBJ. That's definitely a bigger file. Definitely a bigger file. This looks more like it, and this is very hard to move. At least this looks way more like it, like the object in real life. Can we? There we go. I think my software is having quite a hard time. Or it's not, I don't know. For next stream, I'm not quite sure when that will be. I think I have a little bit of time on Sunday. Otherwise it will be Wednesday again. For next stream, I actually want to make zinc green, PG16. Which is also long overdue because that bag has been laying somewhere. Still need to put it in a jar. I've been waiting way too long with that to make. Not me getting distracted by all the things around me. For instance, also me making a flexible, or putting on a flexible arm for my microscope webcam here on my desk, so I can properly view. I don't know why I need this. I don't need this. We don't need this as a stream. But this is my pellet knife. And this is a different pellet knife. I don't know why we need this. It is fun though. I mean, I do enjoy these things. So this is quite a new pellet knife here, and this is a very old one. This is razor sharp, literally razor sharp, and it's you don't see it here. It's like you don't see anything. It doesn't look like what you would suspect a knife would look like, for instance. This is literally, especially that side. This is even sharper. You can't. Maybe you can see that. At least this looks less blunt. Let me see if I can just show you the side of it. This is so damn sharp. Especially the top. You see that? You see how sharp that top is. So the left side of this. You see how sharp that is. That's because I'm making this movement. Always. In the same angle. Always. My hand is like trained like this. This is a rough surface. So I'm basically just sanding or sharpening this. This is over my nail. And it literally just, I don't want to know if you want to see this, it literally scrapes off. I'm just going to show it to you. It just literally, these are parts of me. This is from the top of my nail. I mean, no, you don't want to see that. I don't know. There's probably still some quinacridone burnt orange underneath this finger and nail, at least from this afternoon. So yeah, this looks about finished. And there's a big difference here in what you can see, like detail wise. And I can just turn off the color. So this is the detail it has right now. It's not even on the most detailed setting. you can see that this doesn't look nice at all. But this, like the cracks of paint that are dried on the muller and the chiseled away stone, that is quite impressive. Especially, you know, when it's combined with this, you can appreciate the chiseled away stone a little bit better. Those cracks of paint here as well. Although there's, you know, some, I think with this, it shows this lighting is a little bit better, but I don't know what this software does. It definitely doesn't show the details. This bottom though is way better than what it came up with, but that's, you know, this is the original picture. And this lighting is better overall of this file. So this is basically a finished version. So yeah, that's that. That's 3D, making a 3D model with of a very old, very stony muller, a very ancient antique muller. So if there's, you know, if we can talk and start about anything, but if there's anything you want to share or want to talk about or want to ask for maybe next stream or suggest, or, you know, feel free to do so. I don't know what I've made either, or what I've showed over here. You know, no, that's not the one. Over here, the page for Tomas. I started with NR4 Carmine, then Dragon's Blood. I have my Kaput Mortem Indian red. I need to put that underneath. There is the Kaput and the Indian, two versions of PR101. Quinacridone Magenta, Perylene, what is it, Crimson? Lost words here. Same for PR206. Chestnut, I don't know how I call that. Potter's Pink, Pearl Scarlet, Ultramarine Pink. Yeah, you know, maybe that's a very good idea, Paolo. Or an open Google sheet where, you know, at least some of you are invited to do it for me. I know Gulchen is very good at reminding me at things, so I very much appreciate that, Gulchen. So you could remind me of it as well. We have PR102, natural version of red ochre, brown ochre PR102, the chrome tin that we had, the chrome orchid that we made, Maya red, Yintico, Quinacridone orange. We have the cerium sulfide red, Quinacridone burnt orange, Quinacridone gold, Benzie orange, Pyrrole orange, yellow ochre, PY53. What do we call that again? PG51 is Victoria green. This is on the tip of my tongue. This is terrible. Same as PY110. This is why am I completely lost? Green gold, nickel azo yellow, nickel dioxide yellow, benzie yellow, manganese brown, which is a yellow pigment, NCP, sap green, like the natural version, phthalo green, sap green, synthetic, zinc green, nickel antimony and antimony titanium yellow rutile. Thank you, Paolo. I think for me that is antimony titanium yellow or nickel titanium yellow. I think it's nickel titanium yellow on my Etsy. Not quite sure. Viridian. Cobalt, then we have earth green, green earth, ultramarine green, another cobalt, yellow shade, phthalo, malachite, cobalt seal, Victoria green, natural indigo, which I will try to offer. I don't like making it, but I know there is a market for it. There's a certain demand for it. Not much, but there is. Phthalo blue, green shade, phthalo turquoise, phthalo cyan, Prussian blue, cobalt blue, regular PB29 ultramarine blue. Then we have the lapis ash and frangelico, azurite, for which one? I think this is Egyptian blue, by the way. I think oh yeah, oh okay, sorry, yeah, I didn't know what you were asking. Manganese blue, cerulean blue, my version of cerulean blue, PB35, phthalo, no, this is cobalt turquoise-ish. Not quite sure what I'm going to call that. What I'm going to... It is cobalt, PB36, anthraquinone, cobalt violet, PB73, which is a violet version that I have, PB82 Mayan blue, Yinmin, PB86, cobalt violet, PB14, ultramarine violet, PB15, manganese, quinacridone red, dioxin violet, perylene violet, quinacridone violet, PV55, strontium violet, cobalt turquoise-ish, right? Yeah, that sounds right. Asphaltum, NBR8, PBR7, 3 times, burnt sienna, raw umber, and green umber. PBR11, 23, 24, 33, PBK9, spinal black, 26, graphite, iron oxide, PBK11. This one was 23, antimony gray. That's the bluish one that I also got. Perylene green, perylene black, titanium white, titanium buff, titanium white, mica, just pure mica, to compare that with pigment metal 1, aluminum powder, 59 blue, 59 grey, dirty blue exclusive, which is lapis and limonite, dirty blue signature, which is just regular ochre with synthetic ultramarine, more sits, because, you know, why not? Because I also added meteorites to the list for Tamas. So this is eventually the dot card very expensive, very extensive dot card that goes his way. But I'll have to add a list with names with it, because what I just did now is that's not possible. I'm not going to let him sort that out either. I can just copy the names of my Etsy of the things but you know, that's something I'm very ashamed of how long my shop has been on a pause. But there was just too many things in my personal life, and you know, medically one of them, that have held me back opening my shop. Too many things that needed my focus more, and you know, this was long overdue. This has a priority, but opening my shop also has a priority. So still, my plan is to do that within a week and a half. So last Wednesday I said within 2 weeks. Still planning to do that within 2 weeks, opening my shop. But things like this just need to get off my list. It can just take it out of the back of my head, because that's like, it adds a little bit of pressure. Like, I still like a unfinished to-do list that just never ends and stops, and I just want some things to be taken off that list. This was one of them, so it really this really needs to be complete. Also, for me, a very good way of checking what my stock is, dot wise especially, what I can make, what I need to make. But my shop won't open with everything in stock. That's something I can promise. It will be pre-orders for some things. Some things will be in stock. I probably would offer everything as pre-orders, since, you know, I know for some colors I have a stock of 5 colors. For some I have like 12 to 20 just laying in a drawer waiting to be shipped. For some it's like it's still in my dehydrator and it needs another layer, and for me it's too much to every individual color, like put everything down. If it either can be sent within a week or it's a pre-order within a few weeks, it's just, for me, that's, yeah. I don't want to make it too difficult for myself reopening it now. That makes that threshold I was talking about a while back, it makes it even higher. I don't want to have that, so I just want to have a slow and easy opening of my shop. Not that, you know, I don't want a lot of sales, or I couldn't handle that or something, not slow like that, but just taking away a little bit of pressure for myself. Also to give myself a little bit more time to, in the meanwhile, finishing orders and packing orders, thinking about maybe offering, you know, things like this, or just you know, all my blues, all my yellows, all my reds, violets, things like that. Those are ideas that are in my head, that have been in my head for a long time, and I really need to I really want to share some of those ideas as a physical item in my shop. I'm sharing it here, but I actually want you to put it in your card as well, and want you to be able to put it in your card, not putting any pressure on your side. I want you to be able to buy that idea and, you know, work with it as a product. But for that, I don't want to say I'm a perfectionist. I actually really hate it when people say that as in a sentence I want to make right now, which comes across as an excuse. But I want my but. Everything before but doesn't count. I want my idea in my head as a physical product in my shop. I want it to be as good as it is in my head. And there is a little bit of perfectionism that, you know, comes with that. when I would offer like color families, like blues, yellows, oranges, reds, violets, greens, or maybe just a quartet of 4 very important colors within that family. I don't know. I do have so many ideas when it comes to, you know, physical products, and I'm going to put this out here as well. I know, Gulshan, I know. And I'm very happy that, you know, you're aware of that. But since you are aware of that, you probably know how difficult it is to accept that fact. You will try. You will try to make it at least as close as possible. And that trying, it can take up quite some time. It can also cost you quite a little bit of stress, and I want to avoid that at all costs. With art, the thing, I know, the thing what helps me there, and that's for this, I think for this as well, taking a step back. Just literally taking your nose out of that piece of canvas or paper or whatever you're working on, taking a step back and try to look at your work as if you were the audience, as if you were someone looking at it that isn't you, someone who sees it for the first time. And I think that's the most difficult part. I think with selling paint, it's a little bit to the opposite. Although I've had some very, very, very unlucky flights, I think. It's probably the flights. I pack everything, I wrap everything. Well, most of you know my paint. I use the same wrappers. I pack my paint the same way. I put like a wrapper paper in the brief, the post box, shipping box, I don't know, letter box, I don't know what it's called. I have a wrapper in that. I tape everything close, you know, there's not, the packages can't tear open or anything like that. I put in little papers to swatch and the invoice, and I've had 3 customers of mine, I think, in the last shop opening run, that had paint that was like as if it was molten, as if someone put my paints just in a steam bath and just then put it back in the box. It was such a heartbreaking sight to see those, you know, customers send those pictures, to see that. And that really hurts. And that's something I need to accept as well. But those are things, you know, I can all the right to them to not even complain about it, but to expect more, to expect a product that they paid for. But I also had customers who complained about my pens being not full enough, like the paints they bought from others, then you get a comparison, have like the big muffin tops. I don't, with a very good reason. Some of them do have like a little bit of, they go over the, not over the edge, but they are a little bit higher than the edge of the pen. Do I have an example of it here? This isn't There's a reason why this is here. This is it for me. This is a perfect pen. This is a square pen, by the way. This is a square pen of ultramarine green. But for me, this is a perfect pen. It's just, you know, a little bit over the edge like this. It's not underneath this. There's no dent in it. But it's also not overflowing over the edge. This is like a special pen with a Muller sign on the side. And there on that side, dirty blue on this side. And PG24 on this side. But this is, for me, this is a perfectly filled pen. And I got complaints they want their money back because they paid for handmade watercolor pens, and they should look like it has like the muffin tops. And I think one of my first customers, I think literally within the first 5 customers that I had some paints, I had some colors that were filled up like really generously. And I got complaints because of that. Because I was a professional artist, a watercolor artist who who painted on site, out of the studio in a tin box. And so she put everything in a watercolor palette box, and I got a thumbs up. What was that? Did you see that? Since when can I have a thumbs up in my screen? Did you see that? Was that me? I didn't push anything, that's for sure. Okay, that was weird. Oh, sorry. So they complained the pens were too full, and because, you know, it's a watercolor palette, all the pens are next to each other. They just touched each other and they overflowed in each other. Which I thought, you know, this is so stupid, because when I buy paints in a store, and those are, you know, almost always the cakes. Schmincke has the port pens, but almost always the cakes. They don't go over the side, so it's really, really obvious that, you know, that's the way professionals, or at least people who buy the paint, who buy watercolor paint in stores, what they're used to. So I find a kind of middle ground. Later on, I changed my pen design. I don't know, it's not doing anything right now. Like it? Hello? Like this? No, not liking as well. I don't know why I did that, but thanks you for seeing it, because that was just weird. I changed my pens. They are rectangle now. They have straight edges. So this makes up for anything that gets lost when you have like slanted edges. These are, you know, this is the angle of my dot pens. This is the angle that you know is the same for any regular pen that you have. So looking at the side like this and at the side like this, my rectangular pen makes up for those angles. So yeah, no, but yeah, there was one person who wanted their money back. Others wanted a compensation. I've had people who wanted a compensation. Hi, watercolorists. Just because it was different than that they were used to. So that really bothered me. Because and that's something that is, you're very vulnerable on Etsy when it comes to this. when you don't do something about that, they will give you a bad review. And reviews are like, they're so important on Etsy. I think, you know, there's a reason for it, obviously. Videos as well, not on YouTube here, but more like short videos on Instagram, showing my process, seeing how it's done, sharing my methods. Let me just quickly, because I saw that the frame rate is going down a little bit, quickly get rid of closing the software of the 3D scanner and everything that comes with it. Thank you so much, Paolo, for this. I got a yellow bar from YouTube again. That's very kind of you to say to a watercolorist. And also a watercolorist with, you know, first, you always being the first on the comments, it really makes me kind of internally giggle a little bit. I think it's just, I don't know, it's nice. Hopefully it's not buffering anymore. Hopefully. Anyway, let me just say, I think honesty, especially in the reviews, I think it's very important. But the way you are kind of punished by them, by anything less than 5 stars on Etsy, is really harsh. It's really difficult to come over to overcome it. Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. What was I saying? Always getting very distracted by this, and it really means a lot to me. You're getting punished on Etsy if you don't have like an average above the 4.7 out of 5 stars. If you're not like a super seller with everything like highest score, with reacting and the shipping and the reviews, and there's more factors right now, as I saw recently. They just put you lower on the list of sellers when, you know, within the same search terms. So that's really weird. You're just getting punished because, you know, someone disagrees with you, and I think that's the most important part with Etsy. If you are being critical, always discuss it first with the seller. I mean, that's kind of decent, I think. Patchy and grainy. It sounds like they used the pigments from Culture Hustle, which I think was one of the first things that I shared in my kind of educational form videos. Don't use those pigments because they have binder in them, which is permanent. And if you use it as a pigment in your watercolor, you're making kind of a insoluble watercolor paint, which does wet a little bit because of your gum arabic, but not as you want to when it, you know, patchy and grainy. That's what comes out of it. I learned that by doing it. I didn't sell those, but I made them and found out after if they, you know, if they did work, I would have sold those, but I found out they didn't work. So yeah. Sylvie, welcome. Saying hello is always very welcome, so glad you can come and just say hello to us. Yeah, but you know, Kramer sells pigments. They don't sell like ready-made powdered paint. Yeah, it does sound like they used the wrong stuff. Also, there is. I learned that way later on, and you don't really buy that from shops that, you know, we talk about here, but mostly from China. You have pigments that are meant for plastic, and pigments that are meant for coatings, pigments that are meant for coatings with solvents. And if you use the wrong kind of pigment for making paint, for, you know, using in a water-soluble base binder, you're getting something you don't want. You're getting something that people don't expect. Thank you, Sylvie. A little bit of merch advertising. But yeah, it's I don't know. The audience can just be everyone, everything, and I'm really grateful for the audience I have here and the customers I've had on my Etsy in the past, and all the positivity that came from that. But also, there's always people who aren't satisfied with what they get, and one example of it was someone who bought my Egyptian palette, which is, you know, it was generously filled. It was I used to paint these by hand, like entirely, and then coated them so that, you know, the paint wasn't mixed or chipped off in the watercolor paint. But now these are just, you know, things in progress still. But now it's just like this colored plastic that I use for the 3D printer, and the only part that I do paint is this part. That I do paint by hand, and for the rest, it's quite, you know, it's a straightforward shape. It is a redesign of the original. It has the pigment numbers in the back, and I'm quite happy with what this design is. It's a modern remake. It's not a replica of the original. It doesn't want to be a replica of the original. It's a modern remake. 3D printed plastic watercolor palette. That's what it is, in a shape that is very similar to something of a few thousand years old. I gotta complain about that. It was too flimsy. It wasn't what they expected it to be, because they expected it to be made out of a bone-like material. My listings clearly said a modern remake made with a 3D printer, printed in polylactic acid. I couldn't be any clearer about it, that it wasn't a replica. It was a remake. And the pictures I have of it on my Etsy are just, you know, what you just saw. So I didn't really know what that where that came from. And they didn't want to explain, and they gave me 3 stars. The paint was perfect. There was nothing wrong. They admitted that. There was nothing wrong with the paint, but the palette itself was just a big letdown. And it's literally what you see is what you get. That's it. I asked that as well. Does it look any different than, you know, from what's on the pictures? No, but the expectations were different. And I have issues with that, but you can't do anything about that. So yeah, those are difficult things for selling online. Basically, I think that's what it is. And I have some very harsh opinions about some sellers on Etsy, I think, within my niche. There's a certain style, certain vibe that worked for a few people. When it came to photography, when it came to naming things, and you see people copying each other, and we've talked about this before here. You can't help that. But I also don't think within a niche that is this small that copying is like the right thing to do. I don't really see it as a compliment when it's that competitive. And it's also a mindset I don't want to be in. I don't want to think about, you know, should I share this? Because otherwise I'm afraid that others might copy me. No, I'm giving just all my pigment info and everything in mixes, and I want to know what people, especially people who know about pigments and paint, I know vanity names. Yes, that's an example. But also pictures, the way how they take, how some people take pictures, and how I know from a few years back, someone else started doing that because that was fully in the style of their Instagram. And then people just started copying the pictures blindly. I just don't get that. That sounds very, very interesting. But yeah, Gulchen, vanity names. Vanity names are one of them. You know, but as something I can just laugh about for myself, because, you know, everyone needs to do what they needs to do what they want to do, and it's fine by me. But yeah, what you're saying, Sylvie, that people got aggressive when you dare to ask which pigment they used. That's a lot of them. It's actually a lot of them that don't share that in any of their mixes, but also not with the single pigments. I've even had someone who was, I think I've shared this here before. Oh, that's it. Gulchen, I think, yeah, I know who you're talking about. But anyway, I made a video about the amethyst. That amethyst can't be turned into a violet pigment, period. I think a very convincing video. This is my opinion, but I have no idea how I could have done that better. I mean, not the video, but just the video could have been better. But the showing you, this is an amethyst, this is powder, this isn't violet. I mean, that's the entire thing. That video was way too long, and I just explained it like this. Anyway, a week later, someone released amethyst watercolor paint, which just looked like strontium violet. I asked him, come on, like, what do you use? I mean, there's, you know, there's been some complaining about a certain company who claims that they, you know, use only that, and as handmade watercolor makers, we need to kind of, you know, stay true to, we only use pure, we use more pigment, we don't use additives, we don't lie about things, or we don't share things, but those are two different things. And they said, no, you're not using a pure enough amethyst in the video, because I have pure amethyst and that's violet. And I even started to doubt myself, because they were so certain of themselves, so certain of their paint. I said, you know, where do you get your pigment? I'll buy it. I don't care. I'll buy it. I'm not selling it, because I stand by what I said in my video, and if I just sell it then after that, you know, that would be ridiculous. So where did you buy it? And no, it's someone who makes it for me, who I know, and it's so personal stuff and blah blah blah. That is terrible. That is terrible. Anyway, they continued doing that. Wait, what? Let me first. Okay, I'm going to come back at that, Sylvie. They continued offering paints with, like, for I think €5, a half pen with the purest lapis lazuli, things like that. No, not €5, so €10 maybe. It was more expensive than the other stuff, but their paint was already very cheap, so I couldn't even compete with that with synthetic ultramarine blue. And they kept like listing things, and I said, "Come on, are you serious?" Like almost like fluorescent green, which was supposed to be pure emerald, like pure the gemstone emerald. It was almost fluorescent green, the swatches and the dry paint. That was terrible. Wait, I'm just going to read back. Here in Germany, here in the German bubble that I get infos about, there is a big group of people getting crazy that you have honey in your colors. I have honey in my colors. They're getting crazy because of that. That is so traditional. Why? I said blah blah blah. They are vegan. I'm not against that. But being against locally sourced honey, kind of locally, it's like not around the corner anymore. Oh, like okay, like that people who use honey put it. Well, anyway, I'm feeling attacked personally right now because I do put honey in it. But that has been a point early on for Dirty Blue. I know in the Dutch bubble, if there's any bubble, I would just like to put a needle in and just like let it pop like that and just see the platters just falling on the floor. And anyway, the Dutch bubble. There are, I think, I'm one of the only ones from this country who makes watercolor paint from a certain bubble. It's not like, I'm talking like Dutch bubble. All the rest, most of them are using a vegan binder. And I'm using a synthetic oxgal because I don't know. I've nothing against the idea of natural oxgal, but I'm working with it, and it's just for me, oxgal is a weird thing anyway, and synthetic. It didn't really make any difference for my binder when I first tried them out. I did use the real stuff as well, when I was experimenting with my binder. But that is really, really weird. What you're saying, Sylvie. But I've been thinking back then, shall I also offer vegan watercolors? Like, shall I completely change my binder and make it without honey, because I don't want to miss any customers. I don't want to miss any clientele because of that. And it's not that I don't like to offer it to everyone, but I stick by my vision of trying to offer a very traditional base within in a modern form. So I use recycled plastic for my 3D printing, which I think is like, I don't know anyone who uses recycled PLA. It costs me way more than regular stuff. I can buy the regular stuff on Amazon or anywhere. So I'm using recycled plastic. I think that's a plus for me. I'm using very traditional pigments, also using very modern pigments, trying to stick my head above the mass of people offering watercolors with some pigments that I offer, because I know for most of those pigments, I'm one of the only ones that offer it. So also modern, also synthetic, or traditional, modern, synthetic, natural. There's a balance in that. And I'm not going to sacrifice the traditional binder, which I do have. I think my binder recipe is older than the... No, that's not true. I want to say older than the Muller, but I don't think they made a lot of honey-based watercolor back then. Anyway, it's a very traditional binder. So yeah, like honey doesn't crystallize. Like that's a property of honey. It can crystallize, like when it kind of dries out, it hardens a little bit when you get crystals, but that's a different crystallization than a pure sugar product does. Agave syrup, maple syrup do crystallize way more than honey does. So using any of those alternatives in my product make it a fully, completely, and less stable, in my opinion, binder. The re-wettability properties that honey has are way different as well. So it's, for me, there's no comparison. There's no, yeah. But it was something I've been thinking about in the past, because I didn't want to lose anything customer wise. I didn't want to exclude myself from a source of income. And I did have some people quite recently as well, but in the past, quite a few, who sent me a message or replied on a YouTube video. They were very interested in my product, and they sent me a message on Etsy through YouTube most of the times if my watercolors were vegan. And unfortunately, it did not. And those were the people I lost as customers who approached me from a source that they trusted. So they saw a YouTube video and they saw something that they could trust. They saw the process. They saw they were interested in the process. And then, I lost them because of not using a vegan binder. But yeah, I'm going to offer carmine, so that's not vegan. Anything else in here that's not vegan? Bone black. It's not vegan. Yeah, it's... I agree with you, Gulchen. It's, for me... Carmine is like, it's a different story. Yes, those little lies are being killed because of the color that they give. Like, it's just the purpose of harvesting them, is getting the color. But the bones used for bone black, which are animal bones still, would have been thrown away or burned anyway, crushed into pieces and used as fertilizer or something like that. Fertilizer for plants that people later will eat as a vegan. I shouldn't laugh about that. I'm so sorry for... I don't want to offend anyone, but that's just... I've never thought about that way, because bones are used for that, because of the calcium. Anyway, it is, those aren't, the animals aren't killed or slaughtered for their bones. They're slaughtered for different reasons. And the bones is just waste product that can be used to make into a pigment. So yeah, it's I don't know. It's for me. It's really, I really respect it. I've tried to go vegan for a month myself. Just I've had multiple of like those kind of phases in my life that I wanted to know what I was talking about. I wanted to know what kind of opinion I could have about something before I could share my opinion about it. I mean, you can share your opinion about something, but if you don't know what it is to live like that, or eat like that, at least, it was eating that it was about. Clothing wise, like I have a leather belt. Yeah, that's not allowed then when you're vegan. So I wasn't doing that, but vegan diet for a month. I've lost quite a lot of weight back then, but it was also because there's loads of in the things that use animal products. There's loads of added sugars as well, so you're automatically eating more natural and eating less added sugars because of that. And I've had quite a hard first week with this. But then again, an entire world opens for you when it comes to recipes, of thinking about produce in a different way. And it was really eye-opening for me. And I applied that in the way I cook right now, without being a vegan. But I did, learn about some nice little tricks for cooking wise. So yeah. Oh, that's a nasty detail, Ian. Thank you for sharing that. Like, I don't want to start a discussion about what is better for the environment. I immediately think of crops, of what is necessary to if everyone just stopped eating meats and started eating the alternatives, a lot more CO2 will be produced because of those crops. There was a research about that, and I can't dictate anything I've heard here right now, but it was quite convincing that in the end, there was loads more CO2 produced. Which for me wasn't even the point. So yeah. But that's it, Sylvie. I mean, I do when I don't eat a lot of meat, to be honest. But when I do eat meat, I like it to be a proper piece of meat, something that is. I don't know. I don't want to say biological or anything like that, because those are just names that drive up the price, and I don't think. I think they've completely lost their meaning. But when I'm growing vegetables in my backyard, from tomatoes to kale to spinach or just lettuce, anything, even herbs, it tastes so much better. It's tastier out of the garden. That's just true, and that's the same with meat. I don't grow cows. It's not how you say that, I know. But when I know they weren't, they had a good life. Let me just put it like that. And they came from a place where they were treated like with respect. Just let's be honest. I think you can taste it. You can definitely taste that. So yeah, I think it's a very kind thing of you to do, Ian, to help your to help the society like that. I think a cow tree, like a steak tree, would be better. Just take off the peel and throw the steak in the pan like that, or on the barbecue or anything on the grill. And you have different cuts at different times of year. I mean, it's a good thing that we can buy whatever we want to eat from different sources. And like with vegetables, you know, I like picking them from the garden, and I like harvesting my own stuff. But I'm very glad that, Gulchen, when you're cycling past a field of cows, we don't need to have the urge anymore to take our bow and arrow and shoot our own food. I mean, well, I'm very happy that that's way behind us. Did I like your drop of color? I haven't tried it yet, and I'm really honest there. To be honest, I haven't even swatched the things of my own paint that I needed to swatch for labels. So I'm really honest there. I haven't tried it yet. But it's waiting to be. It's actually over there. I'm here, but it's over there. No, I'm not going to do it now. I don't want to rush it. I did. Yes, that's what I looked at. I did like the rock pieces, but I tried to use my brass pestle and mortar for it. And I'm going to use another one, because the one that I have over here, this one, this is not steep enough. So it was kind of like, I don't want to say flying out of it, but I have a steeper one, but that's still filled with lapis lazuli. So I need to get that out and clean it off first. Because they were very hard. Not quite sure if I can make a very fine pigment out of those. Yeah, it's not my thing. A pig's head. Pig in general. I don't really like pig. I think it's harder than slate. Slate is like really... The layers of slate are really easy to smash apart, to at least break down from bigger pieces. This wasn't. Oh, I did get a notification of my live stream, by the way. It's weird. No. I'm not going to. I don't think it's not worth it. I want to try to make paint out of it before I can say anything like that. So. I'm going to, if I can't make any fine powder out of it, then I know, but I think I can. I do like bacon. I do like some cuts. But yeah. That's maybe too much information. I don't know. I think there's definitely vegans disliking this live stream now. Your family's dog likes chewing on dried pig ears. Those are the chewy things you can just buy them, right? It's just not the. It's been a long time since I had a dog. I was never sure what they were. They were also translucent. I don't know if those were. Ah, never mind. But yeah, Sylvie says, Sylvie, there's still like a jar of ochre that I kind of forged myself that I still need to make into a pigment. It's literally, it's. I can show it to you. I literally need to shake this and clean this and pour it and stuff, but. It's a lot of stuff. And tomorrow I really need to make sure that I can just cross off some things off that list, what I was talking about, because I really want to get that out of my system, out of my head. No. It's just it's. I'm not worrying, but I just wanna be honest with that. I also don't want to give you the feeling that I don't appreciate it or anything, but I really do. But just trying to keep my head above water in my studio here. Sometimes I think I have too many things I like around me here, which I can literally just sit in my chair here and slowly just turn around and just look at things, just enjoy and appreciate and look at things. And you know, maybe when I go full circle like this again, when I'm back here, it's 2 hours later. But then I'll remind, you know, something I saw on the way, and I go back, and I can just spend an entire day here without doing anything, which is quite dangerous, to be honest. So yeah. Oh, Ian, you should smash that into a pigment. I'm sorry. I've been thinking that an awful lot with videos I see online. Like people finding fossils. I would never do that with a fossil, by the way. I appreciate evolution too much. Or these, you know, everything natural curiosities and things like that. I appreciate them way too much to smash into pieces. But smash into pieces. But people digging up gemstones and, you know, really nice rocks. And I used to collect rocks when I was a kid, so I really get that. But the first thing I think right now is, what color would that make into as a pigment? Which is a really terrible thing to think in some cases. Yeah. But here in my studio, I don't think I have anything. Yeah, I would never smash any of my old mullers into a powder to see what kind of pigment that would make. But otherwise, in my studio, I don't really have anything that is. I have a piece of lab-grown ruby. Lab-grown ruby. This isn't like a ruby you would see made into a necklace, not like the transparent, beautiful gem or crystal, but this is lab-grown. It's quite heavy, to be honest. So chemically, this is exactly the same thing as a ruby, but this is lab-grown. I want to make this into a pigment, that's why I bought it. I still think this looks really weird. Oh, my Eve Klein sponge is done, by the way. I don't know if you can. Yeah, there's no way you can appreciate the blueness of this. Definitely not here. Maybe against a certain. Anyway, it is quite blue. I would almost say smash this into a powder, but I just, you know, I made this out of pigment, so why would I do that? There's mummy Indian yellow, ivory black, Tyrian purple. I'm surrounded by the weirdest things I could never imagine having here near me. And sometimes it really feels unreal, so that's why it, you know, keeps me going, keeps me distracted, I would say. How did I make that sponge? By sponging it into the into the paint I made for it. Just letting it soak up and then just letting it dry. I could make a laser out of the ruby. Shall I show the ruby? This is the ruby, lab-grown, rough ruby. Going to the right screen. Going to the right screen. There we go. It's a weird thing. I don't know if it's. I don't know what this is. It's quite a bright pink here in this camera. Clearly isn't. But to be honest, I didn't start up my camera software at all today because I was actually just screen sharing and sharing my phone for the scanner. But this is the ruby. Other camera. I can just take my phone out as well. If that wants to focus. There you go. Does this do it for you? Oh, it's already been done. So yeah, there's that. This is a better color. So that's weird stuff. But looking at this, especially kind of the way it crystallized, I think I can smash this into pieces really easily. So yeah. Any other stuff? Not really, I think. I think it was someone on Reddit who asked by watercolorists. Thanks for joining. Someone who asked if you can make pigment out of recycled plastic or just shredded plastic. Which I thought was a really interesting thought, because if you can make that fine enough into a really fine powder, not pellets, but just a really fine powder, it needs to be brittle, you need to either let it dry or get very moist. I know, and probably those of you who know 3D printing, when you're working with filaments, some filaments more than others, and they get moist, they break really easily and they string terribly when printing. My PLA that I use, it's very sensitive to it, so I need to keep that very dry, otherwise it just breaks. But yeah, microplastic, yes, but that's, you know, it can get so micro that you don't see it in your food. So why couldn't it be made into a pigment? Use it as a coloring agent in paints. I think that's actually a really interesting idea, to recycle plastics in a way that they can be reused into a product that can be used for beauty. So yeah. But with pigments, you know, that's why I have like the sink buckets. I don't know what to call it. That all my pigments sink down to the bottom of that bucket before the water goes to the sewer. Pigments are solid particles as well. You don't need to. You're not supposed to wash these away in your into the sewer. Into some sewers end up into like natural depots. So whether it's pigment or microplastic, I don't think, you know, for the environment that matters a lot. At least in microplastics, there aren't any heavy metals. At least not as much as in some paints and pigments. So yeah, it's not ideal, but I thought it was a really interesting thought. Just thinking about recycling like that. Same as that girl on TikTok, young woman on TikTok who started recycling glass and made it into sand to refill beaches, because sand and beaches is quite a endangered thing. Sand washes away really easily, but also sand for building. I don't know. I don't know if you make the plastic small enough, if it still floats. I don't know. I have no idea. Probably they still float. But there will be a solution for that as well. I don't know. It's it's not something I would, you know, I think I need right now. But I just like the idea. Like reusing something in a way that we haven't thought about yet. So yeah, it's for me, that was kind of I've been thinking about that for a while. And then I just, you know, continued my life. But I did think the concept of it could be interesting. But maybe also for a lot of other things that we don't, that we can't recycle at the moment, or we don't recycle. What we can make with them, or how we can use them, like we. It's not something I'm doing very often, but you know, when I start thinking about it, I think, you know, reusing things or upscaling, like not upscaling, what is it? Upcycling. That's the right word. Upcycling things so we can use them again for maybe a different purpose. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think we do that. We do that enough where it's possible. For me, I wouldn't possibly know how I can use anything anywhere here anymore, because it's kind of full. I mean, I used to have a small table with a glass slab on it here, and now there is a 3D scanner on it. So yeah, there's that. I'm going to go offline, I think. I just noticed the time, and to be honest, I need a little bit more sleep. And I'm just going to check this. So yeah. So thanks everyone for joining. This was a really kind of weird and random stream. It started for the first hour with just me and Ian, I think. Nice, Ian. Nice. Do any kind of depths also come with it? Because you know, I'm happy to just fully use my card and send it to you then. If you want to take that over as well. I mean, I don't know if that's part of the deal. Thank you, Paolo, for your company. Thank you, everyone. Sylvie, Ian, Gulchen, a watercolorist was here, not anymore. Missing anyone? I think that's just a small bunch of us, isn't it? We should do a Zoom meeting or Google, Microsoft, whatever you use, Teams. I have no idea. We should do that sometime. If anyone's up for that. You know, I don't want to pressure anyone into things they don't want to do. But I think it would be just nice to see and speak. And Mr. Pigments, yes, that's the second thing he said. No, just not chatting. I just wasn't sure you were there anymore. But I think we should do that if anyone's up for that. If it's just a little bit, just one person more than me, that would already kind of double the amount of people speaking. Can you do that in Discord as well? Like a fully group video talk chat? Because that's what I'm kind of aiming for. It's and if you don't want to do that, I'm very fine by that as well. If you don't want to show yourself, or you know, for I don't know, Teams or Zoom, those kind of solutions, they have a chat function. They have a audio. You can share video as well. I think that will be interesting too. Let's see. Who is up for that? I'm just going to suggest that in the in the group chat that we have on Instagram. There's loads of ways. You can even do it through WhatsApp. I think you can even do it via Instagram, by the way. For me, any platform is fine, as long as I can use it on my computer. So I have the audio and video things for if you want to show something. I think that for me it's more convenient to do it like that. I have everything installed here that I need to that I could think of. So that would be most convenient for me. But I have a Discord app on my Mac, so that would be no problem, I think. Yeah, let's call it a night. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. I'm going to suggest it in the chat. And then let's make it like a short-term planning thing and not move it along too much, push it forward too much, because then we're not going to do it. I think it could be fun, interesting, just show and tell. As long as it's about pigments and paint. No, not that we get any. No, that's not true, by the way. If you want to share your cooking, if you want to share weird, very fascinating lifetime stories like you, Ian. Not weird, but fascinating mostly when they come from you. Weird is sometimes from someone else. That's all fine, but you know, let's have a look at that. Bye everyone, and hopefully see you very soon. Have a great day.